all at once. You know, we feel the anticipation of new classmates and new teachers. And for parents, it's the relief of not having to hear, "I'm bored," again and again. You know, the anxiety of juggling your family's complicated schedule. And that was before the complications of COVID. So now, as probably all of you feel, especially these parents here, you know, a simple cough can really get your heart racing. You know, it's, you know that a quarantine could send your kids home and upend your life once again. And parents, honestly, I know this is so hard, but you're doing your best, and I want you to know that you're not alone. And as a teacher for more than 30 years, in fact, I just started my own semester this last week. And as a mom, you know, I've seen that, that classrooms are just so much larger than places where our children learn math and reading. You know, we've all seen it. When our kids make friends that last for years and years, when they learn to settle disagreements or find the confidence to try out for sports teams. And hey, as parents, we rely on schools too, you know, heading out to our own jobs and knowing that kids are in an environment that we can trust. And that's why I'm so grateful for the educators like those here at Marvin Pratt Elementary who helped us through the last year. When families needed help the most, educators answered the call. And it's also why I'm grateful for states like Wisconsin and governors like yours that are providing strong leadership to reopen our schools. The American Rescue Plan increases access to broadband and tech devices, creates additional learning opportunities outside of the classroom, and provides more mental health support. And I know, Becky, you know, how long have we been talking about this, right? So finally, we're doing it. And Governor Evers is working closely with the Biden-Harris administration to make sure that Wisconsin has what they need to keep schools open. And we've made so much progress. But I know parents still have questions. So I'm here today because your children matter to me, and they matter to the president. And my husband, Joe, is committed to being a partner to all of you. And that's why he released a bold plan last week to make sure that all of our schools can stay safe and open by helping to ensure that the adults and the students who surround our children are vaccinated. We can't know what the future holds, but we know what we owe our children. We owe them a promise that we'll do all that we can to keep their schools open and as safe as possible. We owe them a commitment to follow the science, and we owe them unity so we can fight the virus and not each other. So I'm here to talk today about how your school is welcoming students and back to in-person learning. You've been here since August 16th, and hear how it's going for your families. And I know this is complicated, but we're going to keep listening and we're going to keep learning from your experiences, and we are committed to working as hard for your children as you do. And together, I know that we are going to find a way forward. So, Principal Evans, I guess it's up to you, and you can start the conversation.
Sure. Thank you so much, Dr. Biden. So again, I want to welcome you all to Marvin E. Pratt Elementary School, where it is our mission to ensure that we maintain our status as the highest performing elementary school within Milwaukee Public Schools. We are so grateful to have this conversation. We are so honored that you came to join us and speak with our community members who really are right here on the ground doing the work to make sure our school remains a safe space for all of our scholars. We're going to begin our conversation today with introductions. I'm going to ask that you please introduce yourself with your first and last name and also who your scholars are. And Dr. Biden and Ms. Pringle, of course, you need no introductions, but I would love for you to also introduce yourself to our beloved community. I'll kick it off. Oh, I'm sorry. I'll kick it off to you, Ms. Pringle.
Good morning. Thank you so much for welcoming us into your incredible school. I am Becky Pringle. I taught over 30 years middle-level learners the wonders of science. I have the incredible honor now to represent 3 million teachers, support staff, higher ed, aspiring educators, retired educators all over this country and around the world, and I am so proud that I have one of my members who is joining me in this circle.
Welcome.
Good morning. My name is Alina Hodnett. I am the teacher for the 5-year-old kindergarten.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Mary Wall. I'm a member of the White House COVID-19 response team, leading our work on school reopening, and I'm really honored to be here today. Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you. My name is Carol Johnson, and I am the great-grandmother of 2 scholars here, 4th grader and a K4.
Good morning. My name is Rachel Spell, and I have 1 scholar that attends here in 4th grade.
Hi, everyone. My name is Mala Adiga, and I am Dr. Biden's policy director.
Good morning. My name is Jessica Davis. I have 2 scholars here, 5 and 6 years old.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Naomi McBride. I am the proud parent of 2 scholars here that is 6 years old in 1st grade and 4 years old in K4.
Good morning, I'm Jill Biden. I've been a teacher, an educator for over 30 years, like Becky. I'm still at it. Like I said, I was started in the classroom again this fall last week. And I'm a mom and a grandmom, educator, and I'm married to the president, so.
Hello, my name is Brednia Johnson-Allen. I have 1 scholar that attends this school. He's in 1st grade, and his name is Xavier.
Thank you so much, ladies, for helping us introduce ourselves. And now we're going to kick into our conversation, remembering that our purpose here is to really talk about what that journey was to a safe reopening of our schools. I'd like to take this moment to actually start with one of our educators who's right here on the front lines. You heard her introduce herself to you earlier. She is Ms. Hodnett. And Ms. Hodnett, the question for you is, what are some things that you are doing in your classroom to ensure a safe reopening of our schools? And I'd love for you also to just touch on what it took to get to this place, talking about some of the challenges, but also the areas that we've been able to excel.
So I wanted to start off with talking about the plus side of virtual learning from last year. We spoke about how we were able to create a lot of bonds between teachers and our students. Not only were teachers able to see inside the lives of our students, but our students were able to see inside of our lives, and that was very exciting. This made connecting to families basically effortless because it was already done. And I believe that this helped children cope with the drastic change in their routine from last year in their education. So in my room, we are trying to attempt on doing those trends in the beginning of the year now that we're back in person. So academically, as an educator, I'm trying to boost self-esteem, letting children and parents know that whatever happened last year, wherever you are, it's okay. I don't want you to stress about it. The test does not define who you are as a parent or who you are as a student. As an educator, we're going to meet you where you are so we can get you to where you need to be. It's heartbreaking to see a 5-year-old anxiously stressing over a test. So we're trying to boost that self-esteem and let them know that they are right where they need to be and that we are here for that support, anything they need.
Awesome, Ms. Hodnett. Thank you so much for those remarks. I'm going to now kick it over and let you guys hear from our families who have been with us, some when pandemic learning started, but who are here and have sent their children to school during our reopening. I'm going to start with you, Ms. Johnson. Thank you so much for being here with your great-grand. So I'd love for you to tell us really your journey to a healthy school reopening for your boys.
When school opened up, TJ, my 9-year-old great-grandson, was very happy to come back to be in with other kids that he missed being on the virtual. Of course, Monty just started in K4, but it was very, I don't know, I enjoyed watching TJ just being happy coming back to school and again being in with other kids. I was a little concerned about the safety with things inside of school, but I was able to see that they have the petitions and all of that, and a lot of distancing, and I don't know, I was very impressed by that, and I hope that they can keep it up, and I hope that the kids can keep encouraged, and with the staff here, I think they will. Thank you.
Absolutely. Ms. Johnson, did you want to share anything about what pandemic learning looked like for your family, and why TJ and Monty were so excited to come back to school?
I think they were a little bored, of course, at home, and like the First Lady did say, I'm bored, you know, and so that of course gets to you after a while, you know. You can only do so much hide and seek and and all of that with the kids. Again, it was very stressful, them being out of school for me. I had to sit next to him while he was on the computer. And it was just, I go to the kitchen, I come back, he's spinning around in the computer chair. So I was excited as he was to come back. I must admit. But we just hope to keep it up and keep, hopefully to keep the schools open. If things change, we'll just have to adapt again,
One thing I found is that our scholars and families have been so adaptable and so flexible during this time. And so thank you for allowing us to peer a little bit into your house and see how things were. Not all roses, but definitely utilizing the resources here at the school community to help make this transition so much easier. Ms. Spell, I'd love for you to share your family's pandemic story and our transition to reopening.
For me and my family, the transition with the school reopening was pretty smooth. My daughter did get a chance to have a learning experience and travel to California with her Chromebook. Also, we were thankful for the stimulus checks to help families that were out of work and couldn't provide for their children, so that did help out and get people ahead. Also, with the food share that they were supplying, the COVID food share, it helped out families to provide nutritious foods for the children. My daughter, she did well coming back to school. She did social distancing, 6 feet apart, hand washing, and mask wearing and everything. So everything pretty good, went smooth.
Can you tell me a little bit more about food share?
Food share is a government assistance where they provided food stamps on a card for families to help with children.
So did the schools provide meals as well? I know I visited a lot of schools where the cafeteria workers made meals for families that could be picked up or they dropped them off. Did you experience that as well?
Yes, we did. We did go to other high schools where they did have school lunch around certain times during lunch break.
So, and did you experience that as well, where you use the food services or?
Yes, I did. I live 5 houses away from here, and TJ would ride his bike over at lunchtime and pick up his lunch. And they had a very nice big sign outside, free meals.
That's
outside the
great.
school.
That's great. Were you here, and you weren't here during that time, right?
I wasn't. I was at another Milwaukee Public Schools, but have a very similar experience with being able to provide that resource to the families in that community.
Okay. All right.
Ms. Spell, anything else you want to share about? And we talked a little bit yesterday about some of your concerns with coming back into learning for your child. You want to talk about that a little bit?
My concern was with the social distancing and the hand washing, making sure they stay hand washing, keeping the shields over the desk for the children to stay safe, on the playgrounds, wearing masks and everything. So that was my biggest concern, just keeping the kids safe.
Are the kids afraid?
My daughter, she's not afraid. She's just happy to be back with her friends. She's a part of Girl Scouts, so she misses the social interacting with her
Yeah.
friends in the classroom and the teachers and the staff. So while we were on virtual learning, I would have to pull out my iPhone and let her FaceTime her friends because she did miss her friends and everything.
Yes.
But the teachers did pretty well. My teacher, my daughter's teacher from last year, Miss Kane, she did drop off little goodie bags and treats to the kids, and you know they got a chance to see her, even though it was through a screen
Right.
door or social distancing. But yeah.
I think that connection, and I'm sure you know, I mean, that connection with the kids means so much to them, right?
Yes.
And just the little things I think that you do, or just the notes that I'm sure you sent your students, I mean, just keeping in touch with them, asking how they're doing, means a lot to kids. It really does, much more than you might think.
Yes.
Absolutely. Ms. Davis, I'd love for you to share about your family's journey through pandemic learning and now into school reopening.
So last year was the year my husband was supposed to be able to go back to work full-time. He sacrificed his outside work life to stay home and raise our children. And being in, it was going to be the first year they were both going to be in school full-time. So he was, you know, we were kind of planning on that, which didn't happen with the virtual learning. So he, you know, continued to stay home. It was a lot for him, and I had the option. He did an excellent job. Mrs. Hodnett taught my daughter last year virtually and now has my son in person this year, we've been very grateful. I'm an operating room nurse, so I was able to adapt my shift to work 70 hours one week, third shift, and then be off the second week to kind of help offset for him the burden. And not that the children are a burden or that the learning was a burden, but making sure that they get everything they need
Sure.
was hugely stressful. And, you know, we're not teachers. Teachers have one of the most important jobs in the world. These are our kids. This is our future. And, of course, the mental health aspect, we've been very, very, I am a trauma nurse. I work with adult products of, we have a lot of social issues that come in that are the product of environmental things and whatnot. Not all, but you know, you see things, and building strong kids and kind people and educating is how we're going to heal that. So that's
Now,
a huge concern.
I agree with you. And you had a lot of stress, though, on you. I mean, that's a lot to work 70 hours a week. And even though you might have had the next week, you're saying off. When you're a mom, you don't have the week off. You know, so not only are you cooking and cleaning and taking care of the kids and doing your own schedule. So what did you do for yourself?
Honestly, my husband does a lot. He did a lot of that, cooking, cleaning, laundry. If they're okay, my kids are okay, I'm okay. This is not my long-term plan. I was primarily a day shift person. But this is what we're doing right now. And now that they're back in school, I'm just going to maintain what we've been doing. And hopefully, if we can maintain the school year staying in person, in school, that's a huge,
I agree.
huge hopefully.
Right.
Hopefully we can get a vaccine for the younger kids rolling. And my sister is an educator. She works in Madison. She teaches in Madison, and was also hoping that I've got a nephew who's in school there, that we could get the vaccine sooner.
Well, that's what we're hoping for, right, Mary? I mean, we are hoping that, you know, pretty soon, I mean, Mary can tell you better than I, she's on the COVID team, but, you know, how soon we're hoping to get a vaccine for kids under 12. So
That's right, Dr. Biden. We are hoping, and the president announced last week, that the administration will support every last element of support that the FDA needs to thoroughly and scientifically review the vaccine. We are still hoping for later this year. We don't have a totally firm timeline, but we're hoping for later this year. But we do feel really confident that with these measures in place, measures like what's happening here at Marvin Pratt, you can stay in school safely. We can prevent transmission. And so it's so important as we're building these routines as a new in a new school year that we can stay safe. We can keep down the spread.
And I just want to say quickly, I think they've done a great job.
Thank you. I mean, I'll say thank you to Mary and the COVID team.
And the teachers, when we visited the open house, the class sizes are smaller here. The dividers were up. There hasn't been a debate about the masking situation in this district.
There has not.
It's not been, I mean, as far as I know, in my world, it has
Yeah.
not been a problem.
And that probably just takes that stress off
That's-
you as well.
I couldn't send my kids to school without a mask right now.
Yeah, that you're all unified. And that's really great news. Right, Becky? I mean, it's,
Yes, and I was curious whether you were able to use the ARP funding to actually lower those class sizes, the American Rescue Plan money.
I'm going to defer to Ms. Bill, who's in the back. The question is about ARP funding. The question was about ARP funds. Oh, thanks, thanks, Dr. Posley.
Yes, we have pushed dollars into ESSER 1 as well as ESSER 2 to make sure that we can mitigate COVID-19 with class sizes and things of that nature. We first came back, we were at 15 to 1 into various classrooms, and that was a smaller classroom that we spread out. So ESSER 3 is going to the board on the 23rd, and also we will be looking at smaller class sizes and things of that nature along with the that we were be able to do to support our children.
Dr. Biden and I are really glad to hear that.
Yeah.
We worked really hard. The president worked really hard to ensure that things like class size were addressed, things like community schools and surrounding our schools with the supports from the communities and mining the assets of the communities here in Milwaukee. So thank you for sharing that.
yeah, thanks.
Yes, thanks, Dr. Posley. It's always nice to have your superintendent in the room to give the actual response. I'm going to go ahead and segue to Ms. McBride. I know she has a very similar story and journey. I'd love for you to share that with us.
Hello, everyone. I do have a kind of similar story to Ms. Davis, as my children's father is a stay-at-home father. The difference in our story is we're a blended family. There are 3 stepchildren, and I birthed 2. So we are a family of 5, a blended family. And at that time, during the pandemic, once everything started, we're actually working on 2 different school districts with virtual learning. So we have Marvin Pratt School District, and we also Milwaukee School District, and we also had Racine Unified. So we were working with 2 different schedules, 5 different kids, 5 different computers, teachers, assignments, just everything all across the board. Now, while Dad would stay at home, I worked. So although I'm working in the healthcare field, I am focused at home to say, okay, are the kids online? Are they signed up? Is everyone going? There were times where I would have to leave work because Dad would be like, this is too stressful. 5 different kids, 5 different computers. You got to come help me. So there were some days where I would have to leave work or I have to call in. As far as that part of the struggle, I'm sure every parent had to figure out a different schedule as far as who's going to stay home, who's going to be with the kids, who's going to work, who's going to not. Getting lunches. We also experienced coming up to the school and getting the lunches, picking up the school supplies and things of that nature. I know Miss Merrow, she was Renee's, my daughter, her teacher for K-3, and she was excellent with letting us know that there were school supplies needed to be picked up. We would pick up the lunches as well. communication with the children. It was awesome that what the teachers done. We were able to this year transitioning back. They went the first 2 months that everyone were back. The school opened up. My children loved it. They were excited to get back into school and do what they needed to do. This year, as of recent, I got a call from my son's teacher, Mrs. Dean, and she let me know that his reading, his learning is excellent. So I think we did pretty well doing virtual.
Yeah,
And that's just my
congratulations.
experience. Not every parent got that experience, so I was actually happy that the virtual learning worked for my children, that they were still able to stay on point with reading and learning and math. My daughter being in K3, by the end of the year, I know that their goal was just to spell their first name, but she was already on her last name and writing it very well. So I definitely think the Marvin Pratt teachers here doing virtual learning did an amazing job for my children. So.
Well, you're the leader of the teachers, and I think, Becky, I felt like parents really realized how hard teachers work and, you know, what all is involved in the career of being a teacher, you know, that it's not just a 9 to 3 job. I mean, it's like a 24-hour job because, as you know, I'm sure many of the parents here, you probably contacted your teachers at 7 o'clock or 8 o'clock or when you got home from work. It wasn't during that 9 to 3 school day. So, you know, I have to say, I think our teachers have been amazing in how they've stepped up. And it's all, you know, and it's leadership. I mean, it's leadership in each school, and you set the tone. And so
thank you
it's
so
so
much, Dr.
great to hear really positive stories about teachers. And this is what I've heard, you know, just across this country, that I think teachers really stepped up to answer the call.
Thank you so much. I would be remiss if I did not say it takes a village, right? And so I have the responsibility to lead, but I could not do that without my team behind me, and I really want to make sure that Ms. Johnson-Allen can share with you just what that support looks like. Ms. Johnson-Allen, will you share a little bit of your story and also just the supports that you have given to our school even this year with helping in the classroom?
So my son has been here since K4. He started out going in person, and then it went virtual. And me and my boyfriend, my son's father, we didn't know what we were going to do, if I was going to have to stop working or him. My mom, she only worked part-time, and she talked it over with my father, and they decided on she will stop working. So she stopped working for us to keep my son and to do his virtual learning. And without her, I wouldn't have been able to do anything. Like, she was my rock. She did everything. By keeping him when he was sick for us, like during when school was in, like doing his learning. Like, he was in Mrs. Hotnet class, and she could tell you, like, my mom was always on there, always on point with him. Like, she sat by his side. She didn't let him play. Like, when he tried to do stuff that he saw other kids doing, my mom would be like, "Nah, Xavier, nope, you can't do that." And like, she was just my rock. She was my blessing. She did everything, and I couldn't have thanked her more than anything. I was still able to provide for my son, to still be able to work and help out, and it was just such a blessing.
Yeah, you're lucky that you had that family support, because not everybody has
did.
that.
That is
right.
very true.
Yep.
And then if I could just push a little bit more with the reopening, I met you at the door last week with a special gift. Why don't you tell us about it, Ms. Johnson?
So my son's teacher, she sends out, Mrs. Cranley, she sends out a newsletter, and she was letting us know that some things that the classroom needed. And one of the things on there was stating that she needed a fan. So I brought a fan in. I went to the store, picked up a fan, and brought one for her. I also brought in Lysol wipes, paper towels, tissue, everything, because you never can have enough of that.
That's true. That's true. But the ARP did provide for that for schools. I had to get that plug in there.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much to everybody for sharing your stories and on this platform. You know, taking us into your lives, the lives of our scholars. I did want to kick it to you, Dr. Byron, for any final thoughts.
Gosh, I mean, I've loved coming here. I see how committed you all are. I mean, the mothers, the fathers, the great-grandmothers, God bless you. I mean, really. But, to help our kids get through this difficult time. And so I really appreciate your time today to come in, to share your stories, and I'll take them back. I'll take them back to the White House with me, and I'll, when I see my husband and we're having dinner, I'll say, this is what I heard today, and this is what the parents need or they don't need, or what they're struggling with, or this is what the kids need. And, I have to say, as an educator, I mean, we've been married 46 years, so he's heard, and I've been teaching over like 37, 38, and so every day I come home, I'm telling him stories. So he will hear your stories. And that's why I appreciate what you all have said today, because I always felt that he would listen. I always felt, as president, he would listen to educators, because I'm an educator and he better listen. So anyway, thank you for your time today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. So I believe for the participants, we are going to stay seated and we are going to transition to the next part of our program.
Okay.
Thanks again.
All right. Thank you. You're welcome. Thank you so much. Thanks. Thank you. Wait a minute, Jordan, I just want to say thank you to everybody. Thank you. Thank you. Thanks.
Okay.
Thanks.
Thank you.